Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to take a look at a tool called Katana, which is a PHP static website and blog generator. So, you know what a static website is. It's basically just, single HTML pages uploaded onto a server somewhere. Well, what really sucks about building static sites is that you do a ton of repeating yourself. Every single page needs to have the dot type, the head and body tags. You need all that header information, and there's nothing to generate it. You just have to basically copy and paste it into every single page. Well, Katana is just that. It's a site generator so that you don't have to do that stuff. It actually uses Blade templating, which is the same engine that Laravel uses. And I actually found this while doing research for Laravel projects for my course that I'm creating. And I thought it was cool. I thought some of you guys could find it useful. If you have been watching my videos for a while, you know that I like to kind of introduce new tools that I find. But there is a certain group of people that just can't understand that I'm not pushing anything on anybody. I'm not saying anything is better than anything. I'm probably the most unbiased programmer, web developer that you can find. You guys see I use Windows, I use Linux. I don't have a Mac, or otherwise I'd probably use that too. I like to dabble in all types of technologies and systems. That's what I love to do. So again, I feel like I need to kind of do a disclaimer before every video saying that I'm not saying you have to use this. Don't write comments saying, well, why do I have to use this? And if I don't want to do this and whatever, I don't care. Just it's something to watch that maybe some people will like and find a use for. That's it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So you need a couple things before we can get started. You need to install Composer, which is a dependency manager for PHP. Basically, it's kind of like NPM for Node.js. It allows us to install software. So get that installed. You can go ahead and download it. I'm on Windows, so I would get the exe file here, but of course it's cross-platform. I'm also using XAMPP, which gives me an Apache server and PHP on my local machine, and this is also cross-platform. And then for my terminal here, a command line, I'm using Commander, which is a Windows. It's basically a better command line for Windows. Feel free to use it. Again, I'm not saying it's better than what you use, but that's just what I'm doing here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the documentation here. Now to install it, again, we're using Composer, and we just need to run this command. So I'm just going to copy this. And if you're using XAMPP, make sure you're in your htdocs folder. That's your web root. And we're going to go ahead and paste that in. And I don't want to name it that. I'm going to call it Katana site. All right, so that'll go ahead and it'll install everything. It'll set up all the files and folders that we need. Okay, while that's going on, let's go over here and see what we have to do next. Okay, so we need to go into that directory, and then when we want to build out the files, the static files, we do PHP Katana build. Now, I couldn't find anywhere any kind of watch command that will just constantly watch the files and generate them when you save them. I don't know if that exists. If any of you guys know, let me know in the comments. But as far as I can tell, we need to run this whenever we want to compile, which kind of sucks, but it'll be fine. So let's cd into Katana site, and let's see, I'm going to add this. Let's actually open this in Atom. So I can do that with Atom dot. That'll just bring it up in that directory. All right, and let's see, let's close this out. And then this is what it created. This is what it gave us. So everything that you'll have to edit is going to be in this content, okay, as far as the content. There's also a config.php file. Let's go ahead and open that up. And from here, you want to put your base URL. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a virtual host, because you'll see if I just go to localhost / Katana site, is that what I called it? You'll see that it's just going to show us the directory listing, and then what happens is when we generate our site, it's going to get put into a folder called public, and that's what we need to point the virtual host to. In fact, let's just go ahead and compile it just to get that folder. All right, so if we say PHP Katana build, and over here you'll see it created a public folder, and it has all the static assets. Okay, it basically gives us a sample website to work with. and we can go over here and go to the public folder, and you'll see all the markup. Now the CSS isn't there because it doesn't know where to look. We have to create a virtual host. So to do that, let's see, I'm going to go to my Apache folder, which if you're using XAMPP, it's going to be in your XAMPP folder right here, Apache. And we need to just go to conf and then extra. And then there's a file called http dvhost conf. And if you've worked with Laravel, you probably know what this is. We're basically going to just point a domain to this installation. So let's go ahead and open that. I'll just open it with Sublime Text. And it looks like this. So we want to go down to the bottom where you see these virtual hosts. And what I'll do is copy this. And you see the number sign here. This means that these are commented out. So these aren't even doing anything right now. But let's paste that in and then remove these comments. And then in here, all we need is the document root and the server name. So we can get rid of this, get rid of that, and then uncomment these. All right, and then what I want to do is I want cxampp htdocs to go to localhost as a server name. All right, and then we're going to copy this, paste it in again, and now we want to point to the directory of Katana, which is Katana site, and then we want the public folder. Okay, that's where the static website is. And then for the server name, I'm going to change that to Katana site, and we'll just do .dev. You can put anything you want here. All right, so let's save that. Now this isn't going to work right away. We need to put an entry into our host file. All right, so you need to open your host file as an administrator. So what we're going to do is open up Notepad as administrator, so run as administrator. All right, and then you need to locate your host file. Now if you're on Mac or Linux, your host file should be in your etc folder or your etc folder. If you're on Windows, then we want to open, and you want to go to your C drive and then Windows, and then System32, and then drivers, and then at etc. Okay, now we're not seeing anything here because we're only seeing text documents, so we need to go to all files, and now you'll see your host file. So by default you should have something like this. Now what we're going to do is just go to the bottom and we're going to add in a couple things. We're going to do 127.0.0.1, and that's our local host. That's our loopback address for the machine that you're on, and we're just going to say localhost here. We're going to add that entry, and then we're going to do that again, and now we're going to do Katana site.dev. All right, so that should do it. Let's go ahead and just save this and close that out. And now the last thing we have to do before, whoops, shouldn't have did that. Before we get started is we need to restart Apache. So if you're using XAMPP, you can just open the control panel and just stop Apache. Okay, you may get a security message, just say yes. Once you do that, just start it back up again. And now everything should be okay. So let's go to our browser and let's go to http katanasite.dev. And there we go. So there's our static website that we generated with Katana. All right, so there's this home page. You can see it has this little showcase area. We have the menu, the site name or the logo, branding, and then we have a main area. We have a sidebar with links to the blog. All right, so if we click on blog, we actually have some articles here that we can click on and we can read the whole thing. Okay, I mean it's not much for functionality, but it's getting automatically generated for you through some templates that we're going to use. All right, and then the about page, okay, very simple, and then these two go off-site. All right, so let's go ahead and look in our files here, and we can leave this as / because now our domain is just katanasite.dev. If we had it in a subdirectory, we could just put the base URL here. And then you can also disable the blog as well. So if we were to say false, and then we're just going to have to run the build command again, and you'll see that all those files in the public folder just disappeared, all those blog posts. Now if I reload, you'll see that the menu is gone, all the blog links, The link is still here. We would have to manually remove that, but even if we go to it and reload, you'll see that there's nothing here. All right, but I do want the blog, so I'm going to set that back to true. All right, and then you can also change the posts per page for the blog. By default, it's 3. Let's go ahead and change it to 4. Post list view, site name. I'm actually going to change this. Let's just say Katana site, I guess. And then you can change the description as well. So let's save that. And then we'll just go and run the build command again. You'll see all the blog posts are back. And if we go over here and reload, the blog, the listing has 4 per page. And there's even pagination. You can see we can go to previous posts and newer posts. Now, this is a straight static site. And just to show you, what we'll do is we'll take the public folder, everything that's in there, and upload it onto my Traversy Media website in a subfolder. All right, now I'm going to put it in traversymedia.com/test. So for the base URL, we're going to do test / like that, so that it knows where to look for the assets. And then we're going to save it and recompile. Okay, and then I'm going to open up FileZilla. You guys don't have to do anything like this. I'm just showing you as an example. And let me just connect to, let's see, Traversy Media. And I have a test folder here that's empty. And what I'm going to do is just bring over everything that's in the public folder here. And it should upload pretty quick. All right, and then let's go back to the browser. And now if I go to traversymedia.com/test, there it is. Okay, we have our blog posts are there, and it works exactly as if we were on the local host. All right, so this is nice if maybe you don't have PHP installed on your server, but you want to create your websites quicker. You want to use templates. You know, it can make things a little quicker. Now, I'm not going to leave you with this, just showing you how to install it and use this boilerplate. I'm going to show you how we can actually, we're going to look at the syntax, and we're going to switch to Bootstrap and build a little site with Bootstrap enabled. All right, so let's go ahead and close this up, and then I'm just going to delete everything I just uploaded. All right. And let's see, so we're going to go over to the files here. Now, when we're developing, we don't need to pay attention to the public folder. That's just everything that gets generated. Where we want to look is in this content folder. So each page we want to create, we're going to create a blade template for. So if we look at about.blade, what happens here is we're going to extend a base layout. Okay, you see how we get this extends includes.base, and if you've ever used Laravel with blade templating, this should look very familiar. It's the same exact thing. So we're extending the base template, which is in this includes folder, and it's this base.blade. So this is the only place that we need to have the head info and all that stuff, and the navigation. Everything is in this file. We don't have to keep repeating it in about and then in index and blog. It's just extending it. Okay, so we can only, if we need to change something in the head, we only do it in this one file. All right, and then we also have dynamic content like the page title. You can see we're yielding the page title and the description. So for instance, if we want to put a certain title for about, all we have to do is add the section for page title. All right, so you can see the page title is about. If we look at index, well, the page title for that we don't need to add, but let's say blog. Okay, you can see if we look in the application here and we go to about, what the hell? Oh, you know what? I got to change that config. Get rid of this test. All right, and then we'll just recompile that. All right, so you can see the page title is dynamic. All right, so what we're going to do is kind of wipe everything clean. So let's go to base.blade, and I'm going to just get rid of everything here. So we're going to start from scratch. All right, and by the way, the sidebar is also an include, and you can see we're looping through the blog posts. That's what you're seeing over here. But we're going to redo everything here, just so you can kind of see how we do it from scratch. I hate when people do videos like this and they just basically show you how to set up the default template and that's it. All right, so let's go ahead and just put in some basic HTML tags here. All right, and remember the title, we can use a dynamic title. We can use this site name variable, which will put whatever is the site name, and then let's do yield, and we want to yield the page title. Okay, so that's basically a section that we can fill from within our sub templates. All right, and then for the title, well, that is the title. For the description, we could do that as well. Let's add a meta tag here. All right, so the name is going to be description. And then for the content, we just want to do the yield page description. Oops, Jesus, I can't type. All right, so we get the description, and now we want to link to our style sheet that we want to use. Now I want to use Bootstrap, and I'm actually going to use a customized version from Bootswatch, which if you guys watch my videos, I use this all the time. It's just something really quick. So let's grab this flatly. I'll click download and just grab this link right here. And then we'll put in a link here and paste that in. All right, so we'll now use Bootstrap. We also want to link to our CSS file, which if you look in assets and then CSS, actually that's not right. Right here, assets, CSS, and then there's a file called all.css. So let's go ahead and add that. All right, now when you're pointing to links within your content, you can use this at URL. And then let's do assets /css /all.css. Okay, so what this is doing is it's putting whatever you have in your config in front of this. So for instance, we have just this slash right here, so it's just going to be our root domain. Okay, but if you had this in a subfolder, that's how it would know what to load here. All right, so we have that, and I think, yeah, that's it. That's all we need for the head. And then in the body, let's see, what do I want to do? Let's actually put a nav bar here. So I'm going to go to getbootstrap.com. Let's go to getting started and then examples. And then I want the starter template here. We'll do a Control U. And let's grab the nav tag. Okay, we'll copy that, paste that in. And we're going to remove the navbar fixed top class. We're going to change the project name. Now we can put the dynamic site name here like we did up here. So we'll just grab this. And we'll put that right here. All right, and then for the menu, let's actually get rid of all those. And I'm going to paste these in. Okay, so notice we're using this at URL again, and this is to the home page, and then we want the blog page, the about page, and then we're also going to create a contact page, which isn't there. All right, because I do want to create a new page. So that's the nav bar. Let's go ahead and save it, and let's recompile it so we can take a look. The nice thing is, though, it does do it very, very fast. It's not like we have to wait every time. All right, let me just close out of these, and then let's reload. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so the reason it looks messed up is because we're including the all.css, and that has stuff in it we don't want. I actually want to clear all of that out. All right, so now let's try that again. And reload, and now it looks like a normal nav bar. Now, there's no content being output here because we haven't yielded the body. So let's go to our base file again. And down here, I'm going to create a div. I'm just going to add a container. And then inside here, we can do yield, and we're going to yield the body, which is whatever view we're currently looking at. So let's go ahead and save that. All right, and then if we go over here and reload, we have to recompile, reload, and there we go. So that's the main content. Now, if you remember, there was also a sidebar, and I want to put that in the main template because I want every page to have a sidebar. So what I'm going to do is use the Bootstrap grid system here. So let's create a row, and then we'll create, oops, let's do call MD8, call SM8, and then we're going to put the body inside there. Okay, that's the 8-column div, and then we're going to do a 4-column div for the sidebar. So call MD4, call SM4, and notice the sidebar file is up here, and it's in the includes folder. You see sidebar.blade.php. So we can put, since it's an include, we want to do include, okay, and it's going to be an underscore includes dot sidebar. Alright, so let's save that and compile it, reload, and now we have our sidebar. Now I want to make these look a little better over here. Let's actually use a list group. So I'm going to go to the sidebar file, which is sidebar.blade.php, and you can see it just does a for each loop through the blog post. Blade syntax allows us to use stuff like for each loops and if statements and so on. Alright, another great reason to use something like this. So what we're going to do here, let's see, let's go right above the for each, and let's say div class, and we'll do list group. Okay, and then the ending div is going to go down here, and then inside here we're just going to have the a tag, and then just add a class of list group item. Okay, and that's going to display the post with a link. I just want to get rid of the BR tag, the line break at the end here. Alright, and then we'll save that, build it out, and there we go. So that looks a lot better. And that's going to go to the blog posts, because everything's being yielded out in the content over here for every page. Now the reason we're seeing from the blog down here is because if we look in, for instance, the index page, and we look down here, it's actually putting the sidebar out here. Instead of doing this, what I did is I put the sidebar out in the base, so we don't need this here, so we can get rid of that. Alright, and then this is giving you an example of how to use Markdown, which is a different way of displaying text. I don't particularly like Markdown, so I'm not going to use it, but you can just use this tag here, and then you can put whatever you want for Markdown in here. But I'm going to get rid of all that. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this whole div, this whole left side. And then let's also get rid of this. Alright, so anything we put here is going to be in the home page, in the index page. So for instance, if we just say hello and save it, compile it and go over here and reload, we just get hello. Alright, but what I'm going to do here is put a little jumbotron. So let's go ahead and just put a div, and we'll give it a class of jumbotron. And let's see, I'll put, I guess, yeah, let's do an h3, and we'll just say welcome. And I'm just going to put some sample content in here. In Atom, you can do lorem and then tab, and it'll put a bunch of sample data or content, whatever. I'm just going to make it a little shorter, though. Alright. And then under that, let's just put another paragraph with some dummy text. And we'll save it. Let's actually make that an H1. Alright, now for the About page, let's go over here and let's get rid of this whole div, basically everything. Okay, and then in here, let's just put, we'll just put an H1, we'll say About Us. And then some sample crap. Okay, it doesn't really matter. You can put on, this isn't the point to make this a really nice looking site. It's just to show you how to use this tool. Alright, so what else we want to do? We want to create a contact page. So if you want to create a new page, you actually need to create a new Blade file. Alright, and that should be in the content folder. So let's say new file, contact.blade.php. And I'm just going to grab what we have in the About, because we want to extend the base. And you can even have multiple layouts and extend different layouts in different pages. Let's change that to contact. Change that. and we'll just say contact us with the form below. Alright, and then let's just paste in a form here. Alright, so just a simple form with a bootstrap form group with a name, email, and message, and a button. So let's save that. And then we already have it in our menu in the base. Okay, we already have it right here. So it should work. So let's go ahead and compile. Let's go over here and reload and go to contact, and there it is. Okay, so it's as easy as that to add an extra page. So let's take a look at the blog area. Okay, I don't like how this is. It has the sidebar down here. So let's go to blog.blade.php. And this has a bunch of dynamic stuff. We're looping through the blog posts, and then we can access things like the title, the path to link to the single page, the date, even a kind of a truncated text of the main content. All right, but I'm just going to get rid of all this except for what's in the for each. Okay, we want to get rid of all this down here. Okay, so it's just looping through those posts. I don't want to use actually we'll use an article tag, that's fine. But let's see, I'm going to get rid of this, or I'll copy the link, and then let's put that down here. And I just want this to be a read more link. So we'll put a class right here of btn and btn default. Alright, and then the title, I don't want that to have a link around it. I want that to actually be an H3. Alright, and then let's see. We'll do we don't need the line break because it's a heading. And then we have small tags with the date. That's fine. Let's make this an HR. Put a line there. And then the content, that's fine. So let's go ahead and actually want to get rid of this paragraph ending tag here. Alright, so that looks much neater. Let's save that. And let's see what it looks like. Let's see. Let's actually put a line break after the text, because that link there is inline. So I'm just going to go like that. And that should do it for the blog listing. Now when we click read more, it'll go to the single page. So to edit that, you want to go over to where is this? Includes, and then right here, blog post base. And this is that single file. So let's see. Let's get rid of this. And these divs right here, we don't want those. And we'll keep the back to blog. The title is in an H1, that's fine. The date's in small tags. And then let's just put an HR right here. Alright, let's see what that looks like. And by the way, guys, I'm not copying this code or anything. I'm just kind of going, on a whim. Just kind of winging it. So this is the single blog page. That looks pretty good. Yeah, so I think that this looks better than the original, the mock-up there. At least it's using Bootstrap. Now, again, I should be able to just take the public files and upload them to my server. So let's try that out before I go. This is the public folder. So, actually, no, I'm not going to copy. I'm going to drag them over. Oh, I'm going to have to change the config file again, since it's in the test folder. So save that, compile, and then we'll just overwrite this stuff. Okay, now let's go to traversymedia.com/test, and there it is. Alright, so whenever I want to add a page to this static website, if I want to add a page or new functionality, we can just edit the content folder through Katana, and then just recompile it and re-upload it. All right, and you could even set up something where you could just run a command and have it automatically SSH to your server or something like that. All right, so this video went a little longer than I planned. One thing I hate about working with this and Laravel is having to do the virtual host thing, because that can confuse some people, and if I don't put it in, that will confuse them even more. So sorry it was so long, and that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and maybe you'll use it somewhere down the line, maybe you won't. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.